So this week what we're doing is more of a Hawaiian inspired to the pork loins, and then we're also doing a southeastern style rub on the Boston butts and the picnic shoulder. So this week, just to show y'all starting off, we started at about 8 o'clock, that way we could get the Boston butts and the picnic shoulder up to about 180, 190 degrees internal temperature so that it would pull apart really easily for the pulled pork. And then we're also starting the loins at that as well, because they're bone-in loins and it'll take longer for them to reach the internal temperature 160 on the loins than it did in the previous weeks whenever they were boneless. So this week we started the chimneys, and they're actually very easy to start, and they take the danger, I guess, of having the lighter fluid or the starter that you sprayed on there flare up in your face. And so they actually start, you just put one piece of newspaper up underneath, and it channels the heat, or channels the flame up into the charcoal, and burns very slowly and very manageably. This first pit is going to be our pork loin, and you can see that we've taken ribs 3 through 8 here, and we've gone in and we've Frenched the ribs so that they're sticking out, and then we've pushed the two together, and you can see that it's actually starting to caramelize there. These have been marinating overnight, and we put them on and we had the French ribs stuck together. In this water smoker we actually have our picnic shoulder on top, and then our Boston butts on bottom. The Boston butts are rubbed with a mixture of chili powder, paprika, salt, pepper, onion powder, cayenne pepper, basically all the peppers that you can think of. They're both going to be made into pulled pork. What we're going to do here, since we have the ribs Frenched, we're going to actually lay these pineapple slices on the ribs themselves, and it kind of holds it up there. And again, since these are fruitier, since this is more of a fruity recipe than it is vinegar based or tomato based like in previous weeks, as these cook there on the ribs themselves, they'll put some of the fruitiness, some of the flavor from the pineapple slices into the pineapple themselves. We're using the water smokers this week just because they seem to hold the temperature a lot better than the grills do, and also because we don't want any direct heat on these loins or on the Boston butts and picnic shoulder. The Boston butt and the picnic shoulder is fattier, less tender piece of meat in general, and so the water smoker actually works out better for those, having the addition of the water to the cooking process. We don't want the direct heat on the pork loins in general, so that's why we're using the water smoker for those as well.
Our Boston butts today are rubbed with a combination of chili powder, brown sugar, comino, salt, regular white sugar, pepper, and cayenne pepper. And we're basting these with a vinegar sauce that's based with just apple cider vinegar, pepper, celery seed, salt, hot pepper, onion, and water. Our base rub is our sweet flavor that is initially put onto the pork, and about every 30 to 20 minutes we'll be basting it with our more sour vinegar basting sauce. So you kind of get a combination of sweet and sour.
The picnic shoulder, it actually marinated overnight in a combination of apple juice, apple cider vinegar, paprika, chili powder, salt, and regular pepper. We're actually using a spray bottle here to make sure that these stay seasoned and don't dry out on us. And it's actually a mixture of apple juice, apple cider vinegar, chili powder, and paprika. And you actually just spray it on here, and get the entire surface coated with the spray itself to make sure that it stays moist throughout the cooking process.
The pit ham, these are very popular. This is already pre-cooked, and all we're doing is reheating this. It's a cured and smoked product. The pit stands for partially internally trimmed, so that's where the pit comes from, partially internally trimmed. So basically what you do, you take a bone-in ham, you trim the exterior fat, you trim out the interior fat, you go through a process of curing of where you're going to add water and salt and sugar, sodium nitrite and phosphate, and maybe some other type seasonings, and then you're going to put that ham back together. And what you'll notice on that, which is common with the pit hams, it's in a teardrop shape. And basically, when you stick those muscles down into the ham stocking, well, they droop down, and that's where you get your teardrop shape. And then also, if you're sitting there carving it on these carving racks, well, the narrow part goes down into the trimming rack, and then you can trim off the top portion.